Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Funky Marketing Show. Today, with no hesitation, I want to present you my guest. His name is Stefan Repin. I think I'm pronouncing the name right. He is from my neighbor country, and he is also like I am the fan of no bullshit stuff in his work and what he does, and we're gonna dive deeper into those things. But Stefan, welcome to the show.
Oh wait, I'm very excited to have you. Well, you have me, right? Or the other way around. I don't know who has the other one, but I guess we're both happy. So I hope this
Yeah,
goes fine.
I guess we are these days so much into into hosting podcasts, doing lots of stuff with lots of different people, so it's easy to get lost in all of it.
Yeah, yeah. I also used to have a podcast, and I'm thinking of restarting it. So I'll be happy to have you sometime.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure, man. So tell me before we dive into that, what are you doing, and why you are exactly the perfect guest to talk about B2B, ABM, demand generation, and all those other stuff.
oh, I'm a good guest to talk about because I think I'm very knowledgeable in terms of B2B, and I always like to discover new strategies that work. I'm always about like no BS. There is a lot of hype in marketing nowadays. Like always, there is NFT. Everyone's like, let's do NFTs.
Oh yeah.
That's so cool. And I'm like, okay, how are you gonna like put it in practice? Like, how does it work? How are you gonna make money for your partners? Your stakeholders with NFT, and then that silence. Nobody talks, and that's that's what happens very often with the funky and like hyped projects or hyped ideas, right? So my goal as a CMO is just to go through those ideas and then see the ones who are actually working, right? um, Besides, well, as a I like to be called as like a fractional CMO because what I actually do, I set up systems and I get the right people on the board, the wrong people off the board of the bus, and I set the strategy with some execution involved in it, right? And execution is very important because that's how you can keep your heads up. You can keep yourself knowledgeable about what's working and what's just hype, and you can find out what's about new things that might work through execution as well. So that's why in the companies I work with, I try to do a bit of execution as well, at least a bit,
Hmm.
depending on the quality I have. I like to stay in the weeds, out there.
Yeah, because I think that's important because like I see it as like the most successful consultants and the ones that are taking the upper roles are basically the ones that that are still keeping at least a bit inside the dust, and actually this is the place from where you can see what's new on the horizon, right? Not by by just keeping yourself outside of it, but being in the trenches at least, and seeing how things going. I mean, you can do it on your profile, you can do it inside the company, there are many ways to do it, but you need to to actually be inside it to see what's going on.
That's for sure, sir.
So tell me one thing. What do you consider a perfect company for you to get in there and help them as a fractional CMO? Because I think it's being mentioned a lot, this role of the fractional CMO, interim CMO, however do we call it. Mostly it's the role that to get somebody who is experienced, who has done things, and who is there to be not the biggest obstacle for the budget. So it's somebody who is, let's call it replaceable. It's not somebody that you hire in-house. And basically it's something that works for both sides. In that way, you help the company, they help you also do some stuff. So how do you see what are the perfect match for you?
Uh, well, for me, and I've been talking to other fractional CMOs as well. The length of the project is about like usually like from 3 to 6 months, depending if the partnership is good. You might need a year. And I know, for example, Mark Evans, I know very well. His minimum is like 6 months, and then he goes on. But honestly, like not companies can work with a part-time CMO for a very long time, because a
Mm-hmm.
part-time CMO is basically a managerial role. So it depends on the marketing budget you have. Let's say I work with companies who have marketing budget somewhere in between 10 and 25k, 30k, depends. Again, case by case scenario. If it's a product led company, it does it have self service? Is it a sales led company, or it's just a marketing led company? So these are categories. So for me, ideally for me, it should be either a product-led company or a marketing-led company, because when it comes to sales, no offense, but salespeople do a lot of very direct stuff, direct outreach. And although I do ABM, I'm very good at ABM, which I've learned from a common friend, Andrei Zinkevich, on the Full Funnel. Him and
Yeah,
Vlad.
yeah. Both of these guys have been on the podcast. So just to say
Yeah,
to the people, you can go and catch the episode with Mark Evans and with Andre.
exactly. So both they're great. So you can do ABM, but sales is a bit different. They want direct. They want a direct response all the time. And it's not that good, because right now everything's it's about the buyer centric journey. So you have to make it comfortable for the buyer to buy, not for your sales team to sell. Right? These are a bit different things. Now I work mostly with companies. If you go real quick through the qualification criteria, companies I work with are not really big. It's anywhere from 300k a year to 5 million a year in revenue. Marketing team depends. It's the best for me is if there is one person doing marketing or two people, because then the founder already knows what marketing is. And if the founder tells me, oh, it is a marketing led company, I'm ready to kiss him all over. So it's a it's a great match for me. Also, it's great if the company has patience, because I've been in cases when companies say, "Oh, well, I have 5 more months to raise, and then I need to raise money." I'm like, "Well, this is not a real, really great, because like I need to show like very very fast growth, and unless you do paid, you don't really like a lot of paid campaigns. You're not gonna get there." And honestly, paid campaigns work well in markets where there is a lot of demand already.
Mm-hmm.
But in many, but as an example, in many SaaSs I work with, you have to build that demand, and in 5 months to come from, let's say, 50 customers to 100 customers, just like that, it is simply not possible. So you need to look ideally like I'm telling you, like, look, no bullshit. I'm gonna be honest with you, this is not going to work. They come with me with these plans they want to give to an investor. I'm like, this is not going to work. If you want to sell that to an investor, go ahead and sell it, but this is not going to bring results. So yeah, so that's I have like a very long criteria of qualification disqualification criteria for companies I work with. For example, a weird one is like, I worked a lot with Jewish founders, and I love working with them, and they qualify a lot because they like to be efficient, and in a way like save money. They don't like to waste money. It works for me. I like being efficient as well, and we've been very successful together. Also, a part of my experience is that marketing doesn't have to be always a lot of people. Like usually 3 4 people can lead you, 3 4 marketers, good, but good marketers, not just like someone who can execute one channel. 3 4 people can lead you, your whole marketing team can potentially lead you to 5 to 10 million in revenue. But then you'll start to hire, because in my opinion, people, marketers or CMOs who are in companies over 10 million, that's already a managerial role. So they don't really do any, they don't get into the weeds so much. They do these one-on-ones with every team member. It's mostly about hiring and attracting talent, which is
Yeah.
also great. Maybe I'll get there when I'm gonna have more kids and more white hair here. But for now, I want to keep it keep it crazy a bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I like that, and I think because of what you said, and because of the way the role changed, especially the role of the CMO or VP of marketing or however do we call it, the one that's sitting on the table. Usually, that role is, more related to the just management stuff, hiring, and maybe setting up the things, but sometimes it's not even that. It's like CMO has a VP that does that. That's something that I'm seeing, and I think those are all the reasons why the length on for the CMO role is getting shorter and shorter. And basically, it became something that nobody wants to do because the pressure is so hard. And on the other hand, talking with Gaetano, with some other people, seems like especially in B2B, like they don't want to give opportunity to somebody to take over the CMO role in a B2B company if they don't have the experience on the CMO role and in that industry, which means basically that you are brought there to do what somebody else has been doing or what you have been
Yes.
doing for someone else, not to bring the fresh mindset, the fresh idea, and to innovate. And it is the way in which we are actually not innovating but making B2B the same boring industry as it was before. And I think it's the wrong way. My experience and my ideas are bringing all the stuff that we can from B2C, from other companies. I don't know, like yesterday I was listening a podcast from Brett McGrath. He was
Hmm.
talking that that content marketing is like working in a hospitality in a
Hmm.
hotel. I don't know what, I didn't remember the name of the guest, but she was telling that if you have a good service, people will come back. If they like the hotel, if they like the service, if they like the people working there, they will come back. It's as simple as that. It's the same as come to your website, they see the content, everything is good,
Hmm.
they will come back for more. And it has a lot of similarities, like the Chili Piper is doing that with social media, bringing somebody from hospitality industry to kind of have a different approach. Or like the Daniel Chumela, who was a
Hmm.
guest here on the podcast, he came from the politics. He was running a campaign in the U.S. politic campaign, and he came to be the head of community of a B2B startup.
Hmm.
Like different stuff coming from learning from other industries, because I think that's the way to innovate the whole bigger segment.
Hmm. Yeah, well, yeah, I can see that. Well, that's why I understand Gaetano's experience, and I can see that in bigger companies that have budgets, they just so companies do not succeed getting a CMO because it's expensive. Like he's like it's over $100,000 a year if you want to hire a CMO in America, and I'd say on the coast, so California and New York and Florida down there, it's expensive. So people they want more money. They want less responsibility, right? Um, and then that's why it's hard for them to hire anyone. That's why a part-time CMO is kind of like more fashionable nowadays. But at the same time, you need to have industry experience. Like I work with mostly with 5 industries that I have experience in, and I try not to go into other industries because basically I'll explain each time I have a new onboarding a new client, that's kind of a headache. And if I'm gonna spread into way too many industries, I'm gonna have a headache each time
Yeah.
I have. So it's better if I already know the industry I work with, and I already like read information about them. I even read books. Like every time I have, it's actually one of my rules. Every time I get a new client, I try to read about the industry. For example, I work with
Mm-hmm.
a syndication company, real estate. So I've bought a few books. One of them is here, best real estate investing advice. So I'm trying to understand the product and the market better, like that. I think after like a lot of marketers think of it, oh, I'm just gonna be another gig for 3 or 6 months. But fuck no, you have to be true the purpose. You got to be a professional, right? And you got to learn about the industry, because otherwise, it's not a trick that applies to all. There are some strategies that you can do everywhere. For example, like the go-to-market strategy that you can learn, like for example, from this book, from Move, from
That's a good one. Yeah.
Sangram. But this is highly strategical. Like I was trying to find something that I can go and implement right now. Give me a link to a spreadsheet or something. There is nothing in it. uh, as who's that? Christopher Locke had said, "Love the guys, but hate the book." Same thing. Like I love the guys, but hate the book because it is good, but it doesn't give you like what do I fucking have to do, you know?
Yeah, and look, like I'm a big fan of that because if I want to do something, like the way to do ABM, so from point A to point B, and to get to the results, you can get lots of people that are saying those stuff, right? That are explaining the way they're doing it,
Yeah,
but there
yeah,
are not many people who can actually tell you the story to really understand why things are happening.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if you what's your opinion about it, but I like to when I'm guest on other people's podcasts where I talk about those stuff, I like to go and give examples from outside of B2B, outside of tech, outside of marketing,
Mm-hmm,
or marketing from different places because it's how people can understand it.
mm-hmm,
Because for me, I don't know, probably for you as well, some things are just logical, like moving on from MQL models to more demand models. It's kind of logical the thing to do, especially in B2B tech, because you see how some things are working, you see what are actually the expenses, you see what people don't see over there, and for some people it was the revolution in marketing because they have never been taught to do marketing in a different way. Maybe we are, I don't know, younger, or we see some things from inside, no idea. But and I saw that, especially when Refine Labs, the growth and everything, it was based on that stuff. Let's simplify things and let's try to explain them bit by bit of how actually things should be.
mm-hmm. Yeah, like the other day, it's funny you mentioned Refund Labs. And the other day, I was checking their website and I was like, oh, this website is not really optimized for the buyer-centric journey. Chris talks a lot about it. I hope he hears this actually, because as a colleague, I would like him to do it better. He should optimize his website for the demand journey. Yeah, so like people start to understand that it's like you have to go away from the MQL based model, because simply like I go and look to in HubSpot conversion from MQL to SQL is not great, and then I go to Google and then I check, okay, Google AdWords, please tell me how much does it cost to get an MQL, and it's like $200-$300. I'm like, oh shit, and my conversion is like what, 0.5% from MQL to SQL. Oh boy, this is not good, right? Plus, I have to warm these people up, keep these sequences, feed them information all the time. I'm like, ugh, does it make sense to get all the all the content to at the end to get 0.5% in conversion rates? So again, but it's complicated because people still believe in it and they need something to attach to. So so the hardest I believe is in marketing is the lack of control, or changing the behavior. Like if Pip Laya also talks about that a lot in CXL and his blog. It's very hard to change the behavior of people. And whenever I tell them, oh, we're going to do demand gen, so we will not need MQLs, they're like, oh, what the hell are we going to measure? Like, what the hell are we going to do? So nowadays, I'm just saying, oh, maybe we will not need MQLs, because this transition, it looks good only on paper. Then, oh, let's dump the SDRs, let them talk to customers one on one. But it's not that easy actually. Like if you start with these very small steps, like, okay, so now guys, you should give up sending mass emails like this. So you should now you should then you start them with them, say, okay, now this is how you post on LinkedIn, and this is how you do it weekly, and this is how you do it daily, and this is what you write. And then they start to have this like mindset, the right mindset. but it's not easy because it's a behavior, changing behavior. Also, they need control. Like companies need control. Financial institutions which give money to startups and B2B organizations need control, so they need these MQLs. And if you tell them, oh, it's going to be a sea of nothing, it's just going to be SQLs or nothing, then they're going to freak out. Like, oh, what the hell is happening? I need something. Like, give me MQLs, right? What's your opinion on, like, I don't know, on this?
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree, and there is one thing you said. I agree as well. Is you cannot change the whole system right away. In most cases, you need to do at least 1 to 3 months of measuring MQL model and everything that's happening to kind of be able. I'm here, I'm inside, and I'm showing you the costs, the way it works, and I have the better thing to offer. Or at the same time, if you already have trust, I usually do at the same time some, demand gen related things. For example, like I don't know, distribute the content through LinkedIn ads. Besides just offering an ebook for somebody, and I
Yeah.
do them in parallel, so I can actually show what is results of those, what is the results of those over here. Like, do we have engagement? What's happening, and how many people actually clicked on this, and what are the results?
Hmm.
And only then, when you have the deep trust, then you can try to change things. But it's usually, especially if you're, no matter if you're like the CMO or the first person in the company that has hired an agency to help with this way, like, it's basically you are like this, going in two directions. One is you need to build long term, so think about the brand and everything. On the other hand, they expect you to bring some kind of results in the short term, right? So especially if it's the company that got the investment of sort,
Oh.
those kind of stuff. And then it's really hard, and you basically need to do two things that are mutually exclusive in a way. And it becomes really hard. And I can understand that so many leaders in the companies want to involve somebody who is, for example, like the fractional CMO that has the experience, or the agency that has the experience in helping them in at least one part of that journey. And if you have been doing some things in a, I don't know, I see lots of companies that want to become like media companies. So they build in the traffic and everything. And then basically, when you come in and you say that, yeah, one thing, the investors are looking also those numbers. So they want to see the traffic grow more, those kind of stuff. But then when you come in and you check out you know, the process, how many people are actually converting to the paid
Hmm.
customers, those kind of stuff, you see that it's like less than 3% of those that are, on the free trial. And then basically what you need to do, you check out all the things, you get back to the start, and you see is the wrong traffic that is coming to the website. So you need to actually qualify people better and attract the people that actually want to become the paid customers. So it means that the number of people coming to the website, the traffic will go down. Then you need
Yep.
to have a conversation with the investor as well, because they will ask the question. And then, like, basically the marketer, which is in the middle of it, you know, it's uncomfortable position to be in, because this is what I'm being measured at, and this is what I see that I need to do. And then
Then it gets very tricky. Yeah. So it's these are very tough conversations. One's gonna have with the board, with the CEO, and so on. It is very tricky because you need to qualify the right traffic, and but you also need traffic, because if you build demand that you're not counting on MQLs so much, then you need the right amount of traffic. Plus, there's this question which I wanted to discuss with you. What do you think is the role of the SDR, and do you think marketing should handle SDRs or sales?
yeah, that's kind of interesting thing. I like the way Kyle Lacey was sorting it out. It's basically like the CMO, the marketing roles that gathers marketing and sales in a way. And because, like, I see SDRs as they're doing lots of marketing,
Oh yeah, they
in
do.
a way, especially today. And I think they're better at qualifying people and saying the right things than the marketer itself. And I don't know what's gonna happen. I think those roles gonna merge definitely, because you know I see companies going in a way that if we do hold this demand thing and we get the qualified people companies coming inbound, then basically we don't need this many people in sales. We need just a couple of them more experience that can close those deals and can maybe do the outreach, do some other stuff, because they are from marketing, they are getting only those that are qualified.
Yep.
And then it makes their life easier. It makes the life of the potential clients easier, because they talk to the experienced people in sales. Not when you have more of them, when you have more leads, then you employ people just so you can cover all those MQLs. Like,
I know
uh,
just the product. Yeah, like oh, I do a product demos. That's all I do.
yeah, look, like I'm having the situation at a moment when the CEO or in the investor, however do we call it, is hiring somebody intern, 6 months intern, to pre-qualify MQLs so he knows who he's talking with on the call. Like, and when the marketing team reach out and say, "Hey, excuse me, when will you give me the feedback of the MQL so maybe we can, try to make them better?" He said, "I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I'm here just for 2 weeks more." you know. And then I'm like, okay, let's try to figure this out and to have some real honest conversations about the way things are structured.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I know. Um, Companies in a lot of cases they hire a lot of salespeople, and then this person does product demos, and this person is a closer, which I do not completely agree with because, well, of course, you might have a very long, like a lot of people coming through the gates, and then you have some kind of qualification, so not everyone can talk to an account executive. But honestly, it sounds like some kind of bullshit. Like, what is an account executive? Some kind of a god or something? I don't understand. Like, if you are, if you want to have just the right people talking to an AE, so you want to have the SQLs, do a better qualification on your website. Ask them for more information. Not only how are you, what's your last name, and so on, but ask them about what's your company, what's your goals for this year, what's your revenue like. Like, don't be shy. Ask this information. It's gonna make everyone's life easier. And those who do not fill in, well, okay, then we do not need them, right? So you have two options: whether you do a self sign ups, and so people can go on and go through the whole funnel alone at their pace, or maybe do a demo with you, but then you can give them the option of calling them back, because I can see a problem that Chili Piper solved is that this whole road from basically getting a first call, then a second call, and getting to a demo and so on is quite very long. So I was thinking the company that has a similar issue. I was like, why don't we tell people that we can give them a call back, like ask for a call back, and then we'll just call them back when it's comfortable for them, and I think it's good. I think it might work well. Um, Another, like, again, my concern with the role of the SDRs is that, for example, in a recent company that I started working with, the SDRs were always a part of marketing, and they actually need to sell. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, so if
Hey,
this, yeah,
just a second. Do you have something in your hands or something like that? There's a additional sound coming in.
my hands are free, like hand the hook. So like you see, I'm
I don't know, like there's some sound that is messing up. I just want people to hear you clearly. Now
okay.
now it's gone, I think.
All right. Um, What I say? Yeah, so I was saying that you certainly need a better process of qualifying and pre-qualifying all your prospects, and the role of SDRs is changing, like a lot. Basically, before they were like sales, so sales is going to handle the SDRs, but I'm seeing more in companies that SDRs are being handled by marketing, and then you as a CMO have to teach them like what to do, right? And then if you as a CMO don't know LinkedIn, if you as a CMO don't know ABM, then I don't know if you can actually work as a CMO in the future. because you'll have to do a lot of that work and teach your SDRs to warm up prospects, right? To qualify and warm them up, not without being salesy. And that's hell of a challenge, I can tell you.
Yeah, it is. I totally agree. And, you know, but then again, do you need SDRs account and all that structure in the company, or do you need something else? Because I'm looking now, I've worked a lot with service-based companies, and they're trying to slowly, they are all getting clients just by personal relationships of the founders in
Yeah,
most cases, until they grew to, like, I don't know, 150 people plus,
yeah,
because it's development and they grow fast, and and then they think about marketing. But before they think about marketing, usually they think about sales, and they come up with, we're going to hire an SDR who is
hmm,
actually going to do marketing job as well.
yeah,
And
so
and
typical.
what I've been seeing in a couple of companies, it's not just one. It seems like there's a pattern, is that when the SDR buses their ass off to kind of bring in the potential client, so do the LinkedIn stuff and email and everything, mostly outreach, but also some of them are creating like their personal brand and attracting clients over that. But then, when you bring it in, then the management and the founders, who are usually the closers here, are telling to you now that, let's call it the lead, needs to wait before we close all those that are coming through us.
Mm.
And then the SDRs are frustrated because it's usually never happens. Basically, they never get in line, and and then they're leaving the company to find a company when they will actually bring in some value, because they feel like they don't bring any value. And it's kind of strange situation, and just wanted to bring this up because you reminded me of things that I'm hearing from the companies I've been working with, and some of those SDRs are friends of mine, and
Yeah,
I hear the insights and I'm listening and I'm like, I can't believe what's happening.
yeah. I have a few SDR friends as well, and hopefully they're in good hands, good companies, and they have a good relationship with their marketing. But most of the SDRs are treated horribly, like very, very bad. It's like they don't get the proper training. They're just given some kind of a, I don't know, like
Yeah.
they're given list, or they're given some like some cold outreach tool like Woodpecker or Mailshake, and there's like this is like okay, go. And there is no like training at all, and they don't know what to do, and then they send these cold emails and then they fail terribly, and they're they have to call, they have to bring in clients, and they bring all the wrong clients without having any knowledge about what's the qualification, what kind of clients make it to the end, what clients actually stick around and do not churn, which is very important. Not always the clients who get on a demo with you and sound so fancy and great actually stick around. So for them it's very important to have all this like criteria and understand who we actually search for, and not focus. So there is also the wrong not impression but the wrong expectations about the SDRs. So like the classical one is they are supposed to bring in leads, like they're supposed to book demos with the account executive, which I do not completely agree with, because technically yes, but then what if the sales cycle is you work in a company of software development and your sales cycle is 9 months, right? So how the hell is that SDR going to actually track back that this person talked to me 9 months ago? And it's unfair. And then they're like, oh, listen, you don't have benchmarks. You like this person, like I don't know, I did, and then the CMO says you did nothing, or the sales says you as an SDR you did nothing, right? And you cannot track the fact that they did some attribution, and there is a certain post that they posted, and there is certain outcome and of the work they did. It's just not direct, so you can't really like track it. So here we go back to the dark funnel, right? The dark social. So about which I go, like the SDRs need to have some kind of a They should be their money, how they get money should be focused on the way how company makes money as well. So revenue, company revenue based role. So if the company makes money, then the SDR makes money as well, like a base pay plus some commission, or just the base pay at all. Um, yeah. What's your input on this? Like, yeah.
It's interesting, because like we got with a sideway, but we got into the conversation of how are we measure marketing as well. So it's the same conversation in a way,
Mm,
but it's becoming hard for the SDRs, especially now. Like what I'm hearing is like people don't want to connect with you if you are all salesy and going on for results that you need to bring. Because when people see SDR, they don't want to connect with you today because they know that you're going to try to sell them something. But and that's why they need to be more like marketers and develop a brand, the way they present the company, their work, the culture, everything, so the clients come inbound as well. It's not only about reaching out to them, but also, like content becomes the gateway, basically, so you can connect with somebody or they can connect with you in a way. And I see lots of things going on here that will actually, connect the two roles,
mm-hmm.
because in a way that, SDRs gets the potential clients, schedules a call, do the communication, and then like account executive is the one who is actually doing the call, right? So
Yeah.
again, new person, user experience terrible. I need to meet again the new person when I schedule a call with the one that I trust, and I mean, lots of
It's
stuff over there,
icky, right?
lots of bullshit. Yeah,
It's icky.
definitely.
Like you go on a dating platform and you swipe someone right, and you start talking. It's all nice, and then you go and meet them, and they're like, oh, by the way, this is well, this is yeah. I mean, it's not. So that's I imagine. It sounds very annoying. Like imagine same way buyers feel about us. Like I get comfortable with you, and then let's say I want to buy something from Funky Marketing, and next time you're like, well, by the way, this is my boss, so you'll have to deal with my boss. I'm like, I'm not sure I want to deal with your boss. I don't know him. I don't trust him. So maybe next time, right? Uh, so it won't get icky.
Yeah, same. I'm hearing the same example as, as doing the MQL stuff and, doing the ebook, because you don't know what you're gonna get. For example, you got a date on Tinder, you go get drunk, and tomorrow you're gonna wake up in the same bed. You don't know who's next to you. It's the same what you're gonna get in the email. Is it gonna be a one pager with just 10 sentences, 10 stuff about something, or you're gonna get the 30 plus pages strategy book that you sign up for actually. 'Cause you don't know that until you open the email.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing, right? And it will affect the way you're gonna look at the company afterwards.
Oh yeah, a lot. It's gonna affect a lot. So who did this image? This image is it means a lot, I think. Yeah, I so some people talk about the death of SDR. Like there is this guy I follow on LinkedIn, Nelson Gillard. He even has a book called The Death of SDR. I find it quite interesting. Do you think the SDR function will recede, will discontinue at some point, will not exist?
Um, Look, I think it will not exist. It will become part of the marketing, but because I think eventually what should happen is that marketing should be the one bringing in the clients to the guy who's gonna close the deal. So actually, meaning the clients will come themselves when they are educated, got enough information, and they're ready to buy. But do I think the sales will also be there? It will be. Now we just need to see in what will be the way the sales is gonna be structured over there.
Hmm.
Because I still think it's not gonna happen soon. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. To be honest, this is just my opinion. because like I thought that MQL is gonna go away a year ago,
Uh-huh.
but because of COVID and everything, things are changing. I thought that this thing's gonna go away, but no, it's still like some kind of the safety net for somebody who is like executive or people on the board, so they can see that marketing is working, even though we can measure it in so many different ways today. We don't even need to have the email, so we know that the person was over there and downloaded the document.
Yeah.
uh, but still we do it for some reason.
You need a sense of control. That's the biggest problem I see is like that. People who take financial decisions, the CFO, they need a sense of control, and then MQLs is something concrete, something that they can put their metrics around, something they can wrap around. So that's a challenge.
Yeah, but what do you think? So like I think Drift or a few other people started the narrative that marketing should respond to the revenue, and be responsible for the revenue, just because the narrative was the same as we just mentioned. So we couldn't measure marketing, so we measure it on MQLs, on leads, and when we measure something on leads, we want more and more of them. Then other stuff are developing, we need more people in sales, etc., etc., and then it got us to where we are now. But technology is here and we can measure everything, so the narrative goes to the revenue. So,
Hmm.
what do you think? Is that the right narrative? Is that how marketing should be measured, or it's something else? Like, my opinion is that marketing shouldn't be measured on revenue, and that it will go away in a year. I think it should be measured on a business results, no matter if you call it revenue or whatever it is. But marketing is doesn't have a goal on its own. Its goal is to help business achieve its goals. I look at it like that, and it can be different stuff. It can be awareness, it can be education, it can be delivering MQLs, it can be all kind of different stuff, no matter how, what do we need. So I'm kind of want to hear what's your opinion about it.
Well, to be honest, I think in most. So first of all, let's make a distinction with the types of companies. There are
Mm-hmm.
self-service companies, aka product-led companies. Yes, marketing there, yeah, makes sense that we are that marketing answers for, I would say, revenue as well. Also, for revenue, marketing can answer in marketing-led companies, where basically almost the same as product-led, just a bit of a different funnel. Well, but there are companies which are like sales-led. Let's say most of the enterprise companies that I've met, there a lot of them are sales-led, and ABM, account based marketing or key account management, is actually a sales function, which is very
Mm-hmm.
interesting. And for them it's actually sales who's responsible for the revenue, and marketing is just that's those people who make trade shows, who like make us look
Yeah.
good on trade shows and do these funny
Create the
social.
content. Create the content to make it easy for sales to do their job.
Exactly, right. So that. So these are like categories of companies we talk to, right? Like this August, I worked for a month in a sales-led company, and I left in a month because we couldn't find a match. All the stuff they were doing was very direct response, and I couldn't fit in. I'm like, okay, am I supposed to sell right now? I mean, that's not the I'm not bad at selling, but it's just not what I do, right? Um, so the question, I think marketing should answer to revenue, but it depends on the goal for the quarter. So ideally you should have a North Star metric for each Q, right? For each
Mm-hmm.
and the response. So the metric depends. Like let's say um, it's connected, since it's connected to the sales cycle. You cannot respond to the revenue. Let's say I joined the company today, I cannot respond on the revenue in if the sales cycle is 1 year, because anything I do right now, it's not going to show up in until like 1 year, right? Even any small change in strategy, I mean, it can trigger results. I can get lucky, or as they say, the more I work, the luckier I get. That can work, but again, marketing is kind of a long cycle. So you need the problem with it is like, why is with attribution. Like, how do you know if marketing is doing its job or the marketer is doing his or her job well? That's the problem. And you need to measure based on the sales cycle. If the sales cycle is a year, then I'm sorry, but you'll need a year to find out if the marketer is good. If your
Yeah,
sales
I
cycle,
totally agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it gets us back to what we're gonna do this quarter to kind of move the potential buyer closer to the moment when they buy, right? Sometimes
sure,
it's gonna be we create, we write two blog posts. Sometimes it's gonna be we do an event. Sometimes it's gonna be we launch a product. Sometimes it's gonna be something else. But we break it down from quarterly goals, and then we get back what do we need to do to get to those results.
you scale back. Yeah, you scale back from the quarterly goals to your activities, right? Plus, you need to experiment. You had a question, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, experimentation is something that lots of marketers need to do more often, I think. I think not many marketers are actually doing more experiment. I think only a few are doing that. And I mean, okay, some people have already previous experience, so they bring it back, so they need to test that much. But you still need to do it. And I think one thing that is out there that still needs to be changed is that testing and creating different stuff doesn't mean that you do it inside the company.
Hmm.
You need to actually your potential clients, your audience, to tell you if this is good or bad, not somebody who is above you in a company or somebody who is working with you. That's not what it means.
Hmm. Yep, yep. I totally agree.
So man, tell me and all the others where they can find more about you, what you are up to, have conversations
Sure.
around those topics.
Sure. You can find me. I'm a part of Growth Mentor. So you can go, guys, to growthmentor.com and then message me directly and book a session with me, or you can check LinkedIn. I have a well, I have a good profile on LinkedIn. Most of the information you guys will need is there. You can also book a free call, like a free a consultation with me, so I can help you out. You can check my website, luckboosters.com. It's still in process of change, so please don't judge me on that. um, and yeah, like you can follow me on LinkedIn. Sometimes I post good stuff.
Yeah, before we get to the end, so what's one thing that you would like people to take away from this episode?
Um, I would like people to take the episode that they should judge for themselves. They should be more independent in the decisions they make. And very often some that very often things that are very very hyped, they're not actually true. So you always need to have good peers, good friends you can trust, colleagues, marketers. They will ask if a certain thing is just very hyped or it actually works. So that's my advice to everyone.
Yeah, that's a great one. And to be honest, both of us, I think we both have them in different communities, in the DMs, wherever. We both have people that we go to and just ask them, "Hey, is this what it
Yep.
is?" Sometimes we need a confirmation. Sometimes I don't know, I know I need. Sometimes I'm too edgy and go over the edge. I'm too honest, and but for example, like to come up with that, like Ivan Dimitrievich that has been working with me, he's born on the same date, just a couple of years earlier, and we figure out that later down the road. And
Uh-huh.
when I write an email for a client and I want to kind of set up the boundaries and everything, I ask them, "Hey man, what do you think? Am I over the edge or no?" And he says, "Man, I would go even harder." So that's maybe good, maybe not, I don't know, but find somebody that will bring you, the brutal truth about that, and that it's not going to be connected to, if they think the same or no, but just based on their experience.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And we need more female marketers. I believe female marketers are great. So we need more of them.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. We even had the episode now, since we mentioned, even we even had the episode when we talked about the role of the chief revenue officers, and how I think maybe today is a little bit different, but a few months back, like, there were maybe five of them, only five of them on LinkedIn,
Oh
and
wow.
it was kind of, I think now we have more, but it seems like we don't have that many females in the executive positions. And I mean, it is, I don't think it's only happening in this industry, but also in development, in some other stuff. And I
Hmm.
mean, it's a thing in development. I think we need to change the mindset of people, which is not related only to the business, but even outside of it.
Yep, that's true. That's true, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the chat. I think I'll reach out in a month or two to have another conversation, because I think we have lots of topics that we can jam around.
Sure, of course, of
And
course.
I think some things will be much clearer in a couple of months, so we can actually see, are we
Oh,
getting somewhere?
sure. Yeah, of course. I'm available in Q2. We can talk about.
Yeah, yeah. And also, like, I might visit visit you over there, so that's also in plans offline.
Sure, of course, dude. Come over. We'll have some fun. I'll show you around.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's been a long time coming. Like, I was there when I was in high school, and now it's really close to me, and it's a shame that I'm not coming more often. So yeah, guys, you can go now. Stop. Go back to the beginning of the episode. Listen to everything again. Write down the questions if you have them. Write down some insights. Get back to us if you need more insights to get more into those topics. Connect with Stefan on LinkedIn, send him a question, whatever. And one thing for the end, keep it funky as always.
Keep it funky, guys. Yeah. Don't be boring. Yeah, that's it.